All right, so I'm going to start with the Southwest stew first since it has to get cooking. And I'm going to turn on my portable stove. What I'm going to do today is start it here so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to put it back on my other stove, stovetop, so it's not in the way. All right, so we're just going to turn this up to about medium high heat. These little portable stovetops cook really efficiently, really hot and quick. So, all right. And the first thing I'm going to do is just put in a little bit of water because I don't use any oil in my cooking at all. So what I do instead is just put a little bit of water in the bottom, and once that starts boiling and sputtering, I'll know that the pan is nice and hot and I can add my other ingredients. So let me tell you a little bit about this recipe, Southwest stew. It's kind of like a chili. It's got beans and onions and bell peppers, but it's got other stuff too. It's got corn, it's got potatoes. What have I got over there? It's got some collard greens. So it's kind of a souped up chili. Okay, and what I'm going to be adding in step one are the vegetables that I'm going to be sauteing. So I have them all ready here. I've got one bell pepper, red bell pepper. If you didn't have red, you can use another color, but red's kind of pretty. I've got one medium onion. This is kind of what it looked like before I chopped it up. You can use a white onion if you want, a red onion, it doesn't really matter. And then I've got about 6 of these cremini mushrooms, about this size, sliced up right here. These are cremini. If you can't find cremini, you can use white mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushrooms you want. And I know there's at least one person watching who doesn't like mushrooms. And if that's the case, just leave them out. It's fine. Easy, easy. All right, you can see that the water is boiling there. So I'm going to go ahead and just put all of this in together. And you want to use a big soup pot for this. This is my La Creuset, and I believe it's 5.5 quarts, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a really heavy duty. I also have a stainless steel soup pot that's a little lighter weight, but it's good to have this one as well. All right. Okay, so we're just going to saute this, and saute just means stirring while cooking on high heat. And you can do this dry without adding any more water at this point, or you can add a little bit of water if you want. But the idea of this is the less water you use, the more flavor you will get out of those veggies. So you don't really want to, we don't want to steam them or boil the veggies. We just want to kind of give them a quick heat, and they will shrink up a little. The onions will turn a little translucent. The onions will become less bitter and more sweet as we do this. And this generally just takes 3 to 5 minutes. But the key is you want to keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn, and you want to keep it moving. I mean, you can stop for a second, which I'm going to do because I did mean to include this example mushroom, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. And you can see the end of that looks really good, so I'm not going to cut it. If I buy it and the end is kind of, you know, wet or dark brown or it's looking old, I will definitely just cut that off. So I generally cut my mushroom in half and then go across the other direction. Okay. If you wanted to use something besides, like you don't like mushrooms, but you wanted to put something in, you could put some zucchini in, maybe. Maybe that would work, or some, what else would work? Maybe some winter squash. Or you can just leave them out. That looks so good. And the more we cook this and the more we stir it, the more those vegetables will kind of shrivel down a little bit. Let me just check in over here with you guys. Hey, Kelly. Photos working better than ever. Thanks, Lena. Yeah, we're always trying to improve here. Hi, Kathy. You just ordered a 6-quart. Yes, having the right tools really matters. And that reminds me, I do have a store on my website at straightupfood.com. So if you want to see all of my favorite knives and tools, check it out. Hi, Judith. Thanks for getting the book. Hi, Bonnie. What brand is your portable stove top? Hey, Jim. Hey, Fabian. This is a Winco, W-I-N-C-O portable cooktop. And it's funny, I woke up this morning and there was no electricity in the house. So I used this portable cooktop to make my oatmeal. And it was really nice to have it. And it takes these little fuel canisters. And if I were to go camping, I'd probably just take this with me. It's really great to have around. So it's Winco, W-I-N-C-O. And I didn't do a thorough researching on which ones were the best, but it's worked really well for me. Some people like to use an induction portable cooktop that doesn't have any flame. You could do that too. All right. So that's step 1. Let's move on to step 2. We're going to add our dried herbs and spices now. So I will go in order. We have 1, and I'm going to double check my paper here so I make sure to tell you the right amount of stuff. So 1 tablespoon. I wonder if that's a tablespoon or a teaspoon. That looks more like a teaspoon to me. I bet I read it wrong. So I'll put in a little bit more. So there's about 1 teaspoon chili powder. And let's see. So let me measure out 2 more teaspoons. Actually, I'm about done in here. So this is just generic, regular chili powder. It's not particularly spicy. I'm just going to dump it all in there. But you do want about 1 tablespoon. If you like things hot and spicy, go ahead and use a hot and spicy chili powder. I was going to use my magnetic measuring spoons here, but I don't need to do that now. And these are on my store if you like them. I love these. I've never lost any of them, yet they're not connected by that annoying little chain. All right, next we're going to do a tablespoon of dried oregano. You can use dried oregano. If you've watched my classes before, I love this Italian herbs, salt-free. It's just a blend of oregano and thyme and basil, and it's just really great. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of that. 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic, and I will show you that. And granulated garlic is just like sand. You can use powdered garlic if that's what you have on hand, or minced garlic. But I like the granulated because it doesn't clump. So if you're adding it to a soup or a stew or something and you want to make sure that it disperses, that's why I like the granulated. Okay, and at this point I usually add a little bit of water as well when I add the dried herbs and spices, just to make sure they're getting evenly distributed here. Okay. Ooh, doesn't that look good? So excited. All right, and then the last dried spice is, where is it? The ground cumin, about 2 teaspoons. If you want to really pump up the flavor here, you can grind your own cumin seeds. That will taste really extra flavorful. Okay, ooh, so good. All right, so that is step 2. If you needed to add a little water, go right on ahead. Okay, so now we're on to step 3. We are going to stir in some water. This is 4½ cups. Let me check the comments real quick before I get ahead of myself to see if I've missed anything. Hi Merritt. Hey Andy. Smoky, California. No kidding. I'm in Sonoma County, and It's been really smoky, although it hasn't been boiling hot, and for that I am thankful. Hi, Rhonda. Hey, Renee. Kelly from rural Alabama. Okay. All right, so now we are going to do step 3, 4.5 cups water, which I've already measured out here. We're going to put in some white potatoes, just about 1 large potato. I used russet potatoes today, and I chopped them this morning earlier. That's why they're turning kind of browny gray color. And you guys probably know the trick, but if you want to prepare your potatoes ahead of time, you can cover them with water and then drain the water off right before you're going to use them, which is what I was going to do so they could look nice and white, but I forgot to do that. So this is just basically this potato chopped up and peeled. This is a russet. If you wanted to use a Yukon Gold or something else like that, go right on ahead. All right, and next we're going to put in some black beans. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to skip forward a little bit to the tomato paste because I found that it's easier to put the tomato paste. Let me turn this up. I think I'm running out of gas in this canister, but that's okay. We're going to move it to the back here in a second. So about a half of a can, 6-ounce can of tomato paste. I don't like to put the whole can in because then it makes it too tomatoey. And with your leftovers, just spoon them into a little Ziploc baggie, put them in your freezer, and then you can use it later. So I like to put the tomato paste in before I put all the other stuff in so I can stir it in there. Otherwise, it just it's harder to stir in and evenly distribute. Okay. We're going to put in 1 can of diced tomatoes, salt-free diced tomatoes. Right there it says no salt added. So these are just diced tomatoes. Now we will add our 1 can of drained, rinsed black beans, pinto beans, and 1.5 cups of corn. So each one of these, say you didn't want to use a can, you just wanted to make your beans from scratch, it's about 1.5 cups. Okay. This is a hearty stew. Ooh, it's looking good. I get so excited eating this way. If you're new to eating this way and you're sad because you're going to miss your old food, take it from me, take it from us. Eating can be just as exciting. I've been eating plant-based for over 20 years and I get excited at every single meal to eat this food. It's amazing. All right. So what do we have to put in yet? And I just wanted to mention, these are the pinto beans that I used, no salt added, Eden, organic pinto beans. And these are the black beans I used. I just used 2 different kinds just to give you a little variety here. Organic, no salt added black beans. And these are good if you don't like cans. But as I said, you can always make your stuff from scratch if you prefer. And this is the corn I'm using today, organic sweet yellow corn, the Whole Foods brand. And you might want to just check the ingredients just to double check that there's only corn in there. Sometimes they slip in other stuff, but ingredients, organic corn, that is it. You can use canned corn, you can use fresh corn. I'm going to put this in the freezer real quick. If you do use canned corn, just make sure that it doesn't have corn syrup added to it or anything else that you don't want to be eating. Okay. And then I would normally put the collard greens a little bit later, but I'm going to go ahead and just put them in now because I want to make sure this is done by the end of this class. So these are just little collard greens cut into little squares. If you only had a different kind of green, like a kale or a beet green, something like that. A chard, you could use that too. But I like the collard green because it's really hearty and it just goes well with this hearty stew. Plus, collard greens are so healthy for you. Any green is healthy for you. So if you're making a soup or a stew and it doesn't call for greens, feel free to just chop some up and add them. Okay. This looks great. All right, I think I have everything in there. The last thing I'm going to add a little bit later is some cilantro, but we'll do that at the very end. And if you don't like cilantro, you can add parsley. So I'm going to get my hot pad, and I'm just going to move this to the back stove so it's not sitting there while I make the salad. And I am going to put the lid on just to get it going a little bit faster. Plus, I think the recipe says to put the lid on. Cover and cook for 10 minutes. All right, and I'm going to turn this off. So that is it. It'll be done after those potatoes cook and get tender. That's kind of the main thing that we're waiting to cook. Hi Janet, do I think this could be made in an Instant Pot? I'm not an Instant Pot expert, but you have to be careful, I think, with the Instant Pot if you have a bunch of ingredients in there that cook at different times. So I think it could be done maybe if the beans are pre-cooked, because beans take so long to cook from dry. If you were to cook it, put the cooking time for the beans, everything else would get really overdone. So there's probably a way, but I'm not sure what the timing would be. So maybe you could search like bean stew in an Instant Pot and see what someone else's timing has been, and then use that as a guide. Hey Wanda, hi Peggy. Yostana, what brand of chili powder do you use? Is it Pure Chilies? This is just something that I picked up at the grocery store, Morton and Bassett, and let's see what's in it. Does it say? It says all natural, salt-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, preservative-free, no MSG, non-irradiated, so it sounds like they're doing a good job of trying to put out something nice and clean. It doesn't say, without the blend. It doesn't really say what type of chili was used. Hi Jill from Spain. Hi Heidi. Hey Maria, I just had your falafels for lunch. Puerto Rico, nice. Yeah, the falafels, that's a great recipe. That's in the cookbook and the website if you want to check that out. Hi Janet. Hi Maria. What size of diced tomatoes? I think it's about a 15 ounce, let's see. 14 and a half ounces, which is 411 grams. Okay. Yeah, hi Joyce. Yeah, it's a really simple recipe. I mean, once you kind of get everything prepped, but if you use canned stuff and frozen corn, it comes together pretty quickly. Hi Debbie. Hi Chelly. Chelly makes this all the time. Yeah, this is a great one. It's still summer. I don't know why I was in the mood for stew, but it just sounded good. Weather's getting cooler now, so maybe that's why. But yeah, this is a great one. You can freeze it. It makes a lot of food, so you can freeze a portion of it. I find that potatoes freeze a little oddly, but they're still totally doable. Like if you freeze a potato that's in a stew, it turns out a little bit chalky when it's thawed, but it's really delicious still. Hi Kathy. Thanks for the info on the pot. Hi, Heidi. Have you found a salt-free chili powder? Wanda wants to know. Yeah, that one is salt-free that I used. Most often I get my dried herbs and spices from Savory Spice. Can you see that? Savory Spice. You can buy their stuff online. We have 2 Savory Spice stores in Sonoma County, so I usually go to those. But I find that they have a lot of organic stuff and they have a lot of salt-free stuff too. All right, there she is. That looks great. So yes, I forgot the parsley. I guess I put it all in here into the salad, and that's fine though. So if you were adding the parsley or cilantro, just add it in right toward the end. Any kind of dried herb, I mean fresh herb, like that's delicate, like basil or cilantro or parsley, you just want to add maybe a minute before or when you're completely done, so it doesn't get overcooked and lose all of its great flavor. Okay. All right, you guys, that is it. I might also add a little black pepper to this. All right, that is it. Thank you for joining me today. This was really fun. Things came together nicely. And thank you so much for your support and buying my cookbook. And join me next week. Oh, I forgot to look up what I'm making. I think I'm making little mini apple pies. So you'll want to join me for that. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And I will see you next week.